And welcome one, welcome all. It's the pregame show on the Firebird Broadcasting Network, now part of the CCIW Network. Joined as always by Eric Elger. I'm Peter Ferreri. The Pioneers of Carroll head southeast to take on the Firebirds of Carthage College. And Eric, it's been a good season so far for both squads. 2 games in a row, a win streak for the Pioneers against MSOE, 93-80 and 81-78 in their conference game against North Park. And as for the Firebirds, they beat Ripon but lost in a close one, 85-81 in overtime just a few days ago in their first conference game. And so the Pioneers, they are an onslaught offensively, and the Firebirds, they are just keeping up with each and every team in their preseason poll ranking, and we'll get to that momentarily. But Eric, first off, thoughts, Pioneers taking on the Firebirds. We see where that preseason poll was. Carthage, 8 first-place votes for first overall. Carroll at the bottom with 10 points overall. But again, this is a Pioneers team. Guess what? They've won so far. So that's where you kind of say, okay, well, that's where people thought they were going to be, but they've had a much more successful season than anticipated.
Yeah, exactly. They've played some tough teams. I mean, their first game of the season was at Wash U, who's ranked number 5. So they started out the season with a tough schedule, but excuse me, coming in, you got 81 points per game for the Pioneers, and that's something that Carroll has been known for in the CCIW, is that you saw them picked last in the conference, but that really doesn't matter because this team can light it up and get hot from the floor. So Carthage is really going to have to match that firepower. A little bit of a different style Carroll brings than Illinois Wesleyan, the last game Carthage played. And as you can see, I mean, shooting close to 50% from the field and 38% from three-point line. So again, a great shooting team coming in here to Tarble.
Let's flip over to the side of the Firebirds. Before we head it down to Brea, Lassek, the sideline reporter, let's look at the stats for Carthage College. Again, brought to you by the Pullman Auto Stores. Not as much offensively, but defensively, the rebounds have been great, especially the Steve Jarakovic vaunted free throw percentage.
Exactly. As you know, any team that Coach Jarakovic's going to be out there, is they better be able to knock them down from the free throw line. And something that kind of bit them last game against Illinois Wesleyan, they missed some key free throws that Coach Jarakovic mentioned in the post-game press conference. Those are the free throws they usually made last year to kind of close out games. And you'll have to see, again, a tough loss against Illinois Wesleyan, a highly competitive game, back and forth. There really wasn't a lot separating the teams, and Carthage is going to want to get in the win column here early in the CCIW schedule.
Yeah, again, statistics brought to you and presented by the Pullman Auto Stores of the greater Kenosha area. Now heading down for the players to watch in the pregame show, Brea Lassek. Brea, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Peter. Good to be down here again for game number 2 of a doubleheader for the men's and women's side. Let's start with our players to watch. First, on the Carroll Pioneer side, it's going to be Michael McNabb. Of course, leads the CCIW in points per game, and he's coming off a career-high 30 points in their last matchup. He's going to be a threat offensively that Carthage needs to contain. And so let's talk about that defense for the Firebirds. That's going to be led by Ryan Johnson. He leads the Firebirds in almost every defensive category, and he's also very effective off the glass. He's second in the conference in rebounds per game and leads that category offensively. So he's creating a lot of second chance opportunities for his offense. And those are 2 players that we'll want to keep an eye on.
Thank you so much for that, Brea. Glad to have you on the broadcast with us not only today, but throughout the season. Ugly Christmas sweaters are across the board in the stands. Eric, I didn't get the memo, otherwise I would have worn something. Do you partake in the ugly sweaters at all?
Yeah, I mean, seems like it's required at this time of year. It's always some kind of holiday where you got to wear something a little wacky for Christmas.
We'll have to talk to Athletic Director Ryan Kane and try to hook us up with some ugly sweaters. I'm still waiting for the vest like you have, the quarter zip. So nice. But we're going to turn it over momentarily to public address announcer Justin Corrigan for the lineups and introductions before tip-off on the CCIW Network.
Between the visiting Carroll University Pioneers and your Carthage College Firebirds.
And welcome one, welcome all. It's time for CCIW men's basketball as the Pioneers of Carroll College head southeast to Kenosha to take on the Firebirds of Carthage College here at Tarble Arena. Once again for Eric Elger, I'm Peter Ferreri, joined today by Brea Lassek on the sidelines. Let's look now at the starting lineups for the Pioneers. Taylor Jansen is going to get the starting five of McNabb, McKenna, Bland, Neighbor, and Lamar Smith is going to be the starting five for the Pioneers. And as for the Firebirds, the Johnsons, along with Antoine Nesbitt, Riley Brooks,
and Griffin Dawn.
Griffin Dawn. I was looking back there, I'm like he was hidden away. And quick bucket already for the Pioneers, and we're underway in Kenosha. Full court press for the Pioneers off the bat.
Yeah, Carroll likes to play really up-tempo, and anytime you're playing the Pioneers, you got to be ready to put up some points on the scoreboard because, like I said, they're aggressive. They like to shoot it and light it up from behind the arc.
Johnson, Dawn follows it up and makes the quick bucket to answer back Griffin Dawn. You know what threw me off? He's got the T-shirt on under the jersey today. Who is this young man? Oh, that's Griffin Dawn.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure he knew he was on the floor there, getting an easy offensive rebound, and probably not going to get an easier bucket for number 21 this season than what he just got there.
Screening off to the right, the pump fake, Nesbitt. From the outside, Antoine comes away with the rebound. Outlet pass, Brooks, the spin, the layup with the left hand, fancy footwork for number 11, Birds up by 2.
How about that? It almost seemed like Coach Jurakovic had that in the report to get out early. And there, Carroll right back, but nice pass by Nesbitt to find Riley Brooks on the other side and get 2 points.
Lamar Smith, and we have a backcourt violation as A.J. Johnson hadn't crossed when he received the ball. Coach Jurakovic nodding, saying, right call, right call.
Yeah, I believe you got to get both feet across half court, and Ryan Johnson, or A.J. Johnson rather, is jumping onto half court, so a costly turnover there.
Looking for contact for three. Rims out, no good. Nesbitt comes away with it. Dennis Estep couldn't find the bucket. The pump fake for Johnson. Looks out for Dawn. Dawn, that spark plug across the board for the Birds. A.J. Johnson open for three. Gets them all. Birds back up by 3, 7-4.
Another nice pass there from Nesbitt as he whips it cross court. Antoine keeping his head up, finding the open Firebirds early here in the first.
The lefty from way downtown, and nothing but the bottom of the net for Michael McNabb out of Grafton, Wisconsin. Answers back, and we're tied at 7.
And highlighted on our pregame report there, but McNabb, a transfer from Northern Michigan, coming off a huge showing, 30 points against North Park, and he is the all-time leading scorer from Grafton High School, so you know he likes to put it in the basket, and he's talented as anybody in the CCIW doing it so far this season.
Nesbitt falls away. Brooks pulls the quick trigger. Rims out, no good, in the defensive board by Lamar Smith. Contact, pushing up, no good. Own rebound, and back up is McNabb, and what a force for the Pios he's been.
Well, after you saw Carthage get a quick release on offense, there's Carroll coming down. A little fast break points on themselves.
And the Pioneers, I mean, they are at a frantic pace right now. The dish, the layup, and good. And the paint defense, bit of a challenge for Carthage in their last contest a few days ago against Illinois Wesleyan. And a lot of the points out of the 11 so far for the Pioneers have been at that mark.
Yeah, Coach Jurakovic taking an early timeout here. Does not like what he's seen defensively, and he's going to try to say these guys got to get back because you can see Carroll, they're going to try to make it a track meet tonight.
Sending it down to Brea Lassek with the first half report. Brea, what do you got?
Well, it's electric here on the court side for Tarble Arena, and of course it is. Tarble Arena holds the most fans in the CCIW. Number 1 in the conference in attendance is Carthage for men's basketball, and they're the only team that averages more than 1,000 fans every game. And you can feel it in the atmosphere here, lots of students in attendance. See the Christmas sweaters behind me as well, so keep an eye on the energy here as we go back and forth.
Thank you for that, Brea. How about those statistics? Most in the conference. I'm not surprised. You know, when you look at what Carthage has done, how they've grown throughout the years, throughout the conferences. I was given homework a while ago, Eric. You probably were an extra in the movie, but there was a Mario Lopez movie filmed at Carthage College before Tarble Arena even existed and before Art Keller Field was renovated. And so it just shows that the growth of this school, this conference, this team, it shows with the attendance.
I don't quite want to say the house that Bosco built, but I mean, Bosco Jurakovic was here coaching when they've made a lot of renovations, and Coach Jurakovic had some great teams before his son Steve took over, so great to see the growth in one of the best arenas in the CCIW.
Nesbitt goes with the up and under. He is fouled late by Estep. And it's 11-7 with Nesbitt going to the line to try to end on. Nesbitt, a 7:30 free throw shooter. And again, as we mentioned briefly in the pregame, it's one of the stalwart pieces of a Jurakovic team. And he even mentioned in the postgame show last game is you better make your free throws if you're on my squad.
Yeah, and exactly. Nesbitt, again, I would say, I don't know if many players have a longer hang time than number 5 in white, because he's able to go up for that layup and just kind of floats in the air until he gets the foul and knocks down both free throws here at Carthage.
A faster team than in years past, and that's saying something because Carthage has always had the Jurakovic era. Speed, speed, speed. The lefty for 3, absolutely feeling it. McNabb stares down the bench of the Birds. 8 points already for McNabb. Nesbitt, an ill-advised pass down low. That gets picked off. McNabb thought about it again. The lefty donning the pink sneakers. Looks far side. Nesbitt down low. Gets the block. Smith thought he was fouled. Nesbitt says no thank you. And the Birds reset up offensively.
And because of that hang time, Nesbitt also a great shot blocker for a guard.
Brooks drives baseline, draws contact, no foul, hits the ground. Bucket good. Birds back to within 3.
And something we've always mentioned with Riley Brooks, he's the type of player, if he gets involved early, gets some shots going, he's really a rhythm type of streaky shooter sometimes, but again, to get involved early, Riley Brooks can be a huge factor in this game.
The Johnsons reset up the offense for the Birds. A 3-pointer would tie it. Back to Ryan Johnson. Short range 2, bottom of the net, good. First bucket of the afternoon for Ryan Johnson, one of the best players not only in the conference but as voted by the nation right now for the young man.
And Ryan Johnson, I think, is going to, while number 41 in Carroll, neighbor, no slouch, but coming off last game when Cleveland for Illinois Wesleyan was just pounding them down low, I think Ryan Johnson's going to feel a little more contribute offensively than he could last game because he had such a big defensive workload.
5 on the shot clock, the pump fake up with the left hand, and Estep comes through the lane and delivers as the shot clock was expiring, his second basket of the afternoon.
That's something that I've noticed early. Just it seems like Ryan Johnson defensively has had to put so much work in. He's always got to cover the tallest, biggest player on the floor for the opponent, and sometimes that takes away from some of his offensive ability. But that's why you got guys like Riley Brooks out there knocking down a huge three-point basket. And we said this is going to be a high-scoring game, and already at 16-16, just a little over 7 minutes in.
Well, and it's not as if it's poor defense, it's just accurate shooting by both teams. Pioneers early on had some easy layups in the paint. Defense stepping up now. Oh, the reverse look. And a timeout called by the Pioneers. Antoine Nesbitt thought he might have got the foul called in his favor as he was claiming McNabb extended the arm, but Nonetheless, 10 out of the 18 points for the Pioneers already by one Michael McNabb. And Eric, what an output for the young man.
Yeah, McNabb coming into this game shooting 55% from the field and 46% from three. So, yeah, I mean, to get 10 points here early after coming off a 30-point night, seems like he's got all the confidence in the world, and he's going to be tough to stop and see what Carthage and Coach Jurkovic does to try to mix up some of the looks they throw at him defensively.
The 6'5", 205 sophomore. What a young find in the portal for the Pioneers, and subbing into the game now for Carthage with the end of regulation heroics. Chris Schlesinger at Lone Tree, Colorado, had already one of the most exciting plays as you're going to have all season. The layup that bounced about 32 times before it went in to force overtime against the Titans a few days ago, as Brooks gets another layup with the right hand.
And it looks like Brooks taking a look at the other side at McNabb, saying, I can keep up with you here. And as Brooks early, 9 points, almost going toe-to-toe exactly with McNabb so far.
McNabb already voted a Conference Player of the Week in the CCIW in mid-November. Brooks in fuego. Number 11 gets points, 11 and 12, and wow, on a roll.
And Riley Brooks been left alone there in the corner, a couple possessions. I think if you're the Pioneers, you might want to get out there on him, because he's starting to cook here.
Brooks almost comes away with a steal. At least for those watching from home, you're not having McNabb and Brooks one-on-one with one another. My goodness, lightning would strike. But the lead now for the Birds, 21-18. 12 minutes to go in half number one, a fast pace opening half of action on the CCIW network. Some of the Birds thought they stepped on the end line, and a foul going to be called on the Pioneers. Off-ball foul. Wasn't quite sure where the call came in, but nonetheless, Carthage more than content to take that to try to extend their lead.
Yeah, it looks like that was on Greg Smith, the freshman, 6'7". Got him maybe pushed in the back on that rebound. But again, Ryan Johnson in the right spot, sealing off his man, picks up the foul. Great job defensively.
Last time these two teams met, an 84-75 victory for Carthage over the Pioneers. Feb the 5th of last season. Brooks off the screen. Oh my goodness. No shot. Untouched for the Birds, and Brooks 15 points. And the defense of the Pioneers going to have to adjust. McNabb with the miss, the rebound, the block, feet shuffling. A.J. Williams almost gets the steal. Foot on the line for the Pioneers, number 15, Evan Bland, the senior from St. Charles, Missouri. And kind of saw it from our angle. The toe was on the black line. Good call by the official.
I think Taylor Jansen, the head coach of the Pioneers, looking for a push there. I do think he got away with a little bit of a nudge if A.J. Williams, but I feel the refs are going to let that go. It's going to be a physical type of game, and great job by A.J. Williams to just put the pressure on and get the ball.
In the game as well now, one of the younger guns, number 20, Jabe Haith, the junior for Carthage, getting some significant playing time this season. A.J. Williams, 1v1 on Bland. Early lead now for Carthage, 10.5 to go. 2-3 zone defense and big trifecta. Answering back is Carroll, and the three-pointers have been raining down for both teams. As Schlesinger looked for the no-look pass, but it went right to the midsection of one of the Pioneers. From way downtown again, rims out no good. Brooks comes away with the rebound. as Carthage looks to slow things down. Brooks pulls up. Mistimed. He was looking to give it to Montgomery. Montgomery, though, who had his back to the ball, and that deflected off Montgomery's shoulder blade and went out of play.
I think for Montgomery, you see Riley Brooks go up for a shot. You pretty much assume that he's going to take it.
Yeah.
So it caught him off guard. Riley Brooks trying to get the feed there. But, yeah, Montgomery he was heading towards the hoop to try to get an offensive rebound because Riley Brooks, the way he's been shooting it, he didn't think he was going to give it up.
On the line it goes. Possession stays with the Pioneers, but again, the 3 points have just been, or 3-pointers, I should say, 9 for 14 from the field, 4 of 6 of them from 3 for the Firebirds, and 3 of 9 for Carroll. The kick out open for 3 was E-Step, decides to not take it. Losing the handle underneath the basket. From point blank range, easy bucket for Neighbor.
You can see how aggressive Carroll is defensively. They look to get a steal, but that leaves Montgomery wide open. The gamble doesn't pay off there for the Pioneers.
Again, Montgomery bulking up in the offseason, knowing he's going to have a huge role with the graduation of Nemi Stojic last season. Is it a charge? They're going to call blocking foul on the aforementioned Montgomery. Coach Jarakovic was already signaling charge. Let's take another look.
I noticed that too. Coach Jarakovic really pointed like that was going to be a charge going the other way, but
well, it looks like feet weren't 100% set. From the ankles up, it looked like a charge, but only 1 foot on the ground, and Neighbor makes the second. We're tied at 26.
Yeah, just a split second would have got that call, but I mean, Neighbor can be a force down low, and he looks like he's going to go take a little offensive load here.
McNabb cuts in, draws the foul, contact, I should say. Ill-advised pass, but he had a sea of white around him, nowhere to go. Schlesinger, the pump fake, contact off the glass, good. Birds regain the lead.
Impressive shot there by Schlesinger to get it up and over. The 6'8" senior, Jacob Neighbor, just put his shoulder right into his chest, able to get the bucket.
Hop stepping in, finding the lane with aggression is Evan Bland out of Gateway City High School.
Bland, just the quickness there, too much for A.J. Johnson, and Bland doesn't take a huge offensive load here for the Pioneers, just 5 points a game coming in, but lightning quick and can get to the basket.
Montgomery kicks back out for Johnson, rolls around the rim and no good. Since Montgomery came back in, or McNabb, excuse me, hasn't had much success until that layup. Again, the near side penetration for the Pioneers, and a few days ago with the Titans, lethal. And there's not much the Birds have been able to do against that.
Yeah, Bland just been like a hot knife through butter here, just slicing, cutting, and Carthage having a hard time staying in front of number 15 in blue.
We mentioned McNabb last year as a true freshman for the Northern Michigan Wild. 22 games, 1 start, 10 minutes a game, had a 4-point average and a board and a half. Shot 48% from the field as a true freshman. You already mentioned his statistics, the all-time leading scorer at Grafton High, first team All-State. And a 3-pointer for A.J. Williams. Birds back up by 1, timeout for the Pioneers.
Nice shot there, just A.J. Williams, no one picks up the trailer. He's kind of a late arrival and takes it and knocks it down. As we take a look at Riley Brooks, who started the game off so hot. Man, all of his shots tonight, too, has been pure. Has not touched the rim much at all on his way to an early 15 points for the prolific Riley Brooks.
Yeah, we just see 3 after 3 raining in for both squads, a slim 1-point lead. As we look now at some of the leaders, Brooks 15 points, McNabb not too far behind, 12 of his own, 5 for 8, including 2 for 3 from the field, 2 blocks for the Birds, 2 steals for Carroll, and again, it's as close of a game as you're going to get with 6:45 or so remaining in half number 1.
I think it just goes to show you the depth of the CCIW. I mean, you see that preseason ranking of Carroll last. I mean, if you're looking out on the floor here right now, it's clearly a tough, talented basketball team, and there's really no difference from top to bottom.
Schlesinger literally ripping away the basket from Neighbor. Not a neighborly thing to do, but nonetheless, Johnson, long range 2, good. Fans continue to get into it at Tarble Arena.
And that's A.J. Johnson's game there, one of the best mid-range assassins in the CCIW. Been struggling early on field goal percentage-wise, just 36%, but he's the type of shooter, just knowing who he is as a senior, that you expect that to slowly creep up as the season goes on.
And that will roll off the foot of one Peyton McKenna, the 6'2 sophomore who subbed into the game. Birds up by 3 with a chance to make it a 2-possession game.
And they're back-to-back turnovers for the Pioneers. And this is the kind of game where, you know, you're almost marking how many stops you get on defense, because it's just with the way the offense is going to be going, tough to stop on both ends. So those turnovers and stops for Carthage going to be big, and see if they can extend the lead here.
Schlesinger off right. Brooks been feeling it all day, and he's not slowing down. The power of the goatee on full force with 18 points.
Again, nothing hitting the rim even for Riley Brooks. Give it a number 11 tonight. Seems like he's got the hot hand.
They're saying a deflection.
Ooh. Coach Sherkoven asking for help there.
I thought if they could replay that in the background, I thought he was given the 6-7 motion, but I guess he was asking in versus out. Do any of your students do the old 6-7 yet, Eric?
They giggle when I say, you know, page 6, 7 or whatever,
Yeah.
but they don't say it out loud because Mr. Elger has maybe instilled into them that we're not interrupting class doing that this year.
Before the shot clock expires, no good. Ryan Johnson with the rebound. Hands off to Schlesinger, who's been a huge force for the Birds since he transferred in. McNabb, the up, the under, good. McNabb, so lethal from all portions of the court. Formerly out of the GLIAC conference. The Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. And a foul going to be called. Mark that on Ryan Johnson, actually. I paused to see who they're calling on. They're calling on Ryan Johnson on the late swipe.
Yeah, I can't believe AJ not able to come up with a bucket there. 2 good looks. He's not able to capitalize.
4-point lead for Carthage. Dawn aggressive. Contact, almost poked from behind. But again, a point-blank shot. Lamar Smith.
Yeah, Lamar Smith coming in at 16 points a game coming in tonight. Second leading scorer. You can see the toughness he brings down low.
A.J. Johnson, the quick trigger, good. The phenomenal A.J. Johnson lighting it up for 8 points.
A.J. Johnson saying, I could make some of those easier shots. Let me step behind the arc here and knock it down.
Riley Brooks gets the rebound. Brooks hands off for Johnson. The drive, the layup, and good. Offensive outputs galore for both squads.
Yeah, I think Carthage is at their best when they really spread the scoring around and can't really lock into it. One player and A.J. Johnson a key part of that. And if he can kind of continue to pick up his offense this season, it's going to make the Firebirds that much more dangerous.
Seems to be a fairly short bench for the Birds this year. But nonetheless, you know, when you have a little bit of turnover in any year, in any team, this is what we expected last game against the Titans. The offense just wasn't quite there, Eric, as you would attest, is fast pace, weather the storm, force the other team to just run out of gas as the game goes on. 7 points thus far for one Lamar Smith. Every time I say Lamar Smith, I think of former Miami Dolphins running back and New Orleans Saint running back Lamar Smith. I'm sure you do that every name you say. Oh, this reminds me of a player from 25 years ago in a completely different sport. But nonetheless, this Lamar Smith at the line for the second free throw. Second leading scorer on the squad with 16.5 points. 670 from the free throw line. He nails them both.
You almost just said the old 6-7 there.
Ah!
Students wouldn't have missed that one.
Almost poked by Brooks. McNabb, the lefty, leaves the net entwined with the rim. The lefty, lethal.
He's kind of got a little bit of a different shot, different release, but effective.
Yeah, he really turns the body with the release.
Yeah.
You bring up a good point. It's not so much the arms, it's the body positioning. Either way, it's the best in his high school's history. And a rare miss, Dawn steps on the line at the last moment. Make sure you stick around for the post-game show, stats, highlights, and more. Brea Lassek will have a few words with Coach Jarakovic before he heads into the locker room. Lead down to 2.
They give McNabb a breather there and bring back Bland, who's been effective so far. See if they get the ball in the Bland's hands that he has been driving to the hoop effectively.
Another 3-0, the bottom of the net. McKenna delivers. He's up to 6 points, and the Pios take the lead.
Peyton McKenna, your typical gunner. He's got 55 of his 63 total shots this season coming into tonight, all from behind the arc. So only 8 shots, not a three-pointer. You know where he likes to be, and boy, he can knock him down. Hit 2 already tonight.
Foul called before the flick of the wrist for Riley Brooks. Officials today, Michael Ruffer, Cola Clark III, and Ernesta Kilavolis. Brooks pulls up, just misses, and his rare misses today, they have been full toilet bowl swirls before they popped out. Back of the rim, no good. A.J. Johnson coming away with the rebound, under 2 minutes to go.
See here, if you're Carthage, you want to close out this half. You're down 1, 2 minute stretch here. Run some good offense. See if you can get an easy look.
Riley Brooks, stop it. Birds back up by 2. I don't know if I've seen as efficient of an output by Riley Brooks in his Carthage tenure.
And that, I think his third shot from that very same spot is not missing from there. You can tell where he likes to see the ball.
A.J. Johnson thought about it. Schlesinger drives in at the pump fake. Easy layup with the left hand. 65 seconds until halftime.
Great hesitation there. That's where Schlesinger has the advantage. If you can get Neighbor out away from the rim, it's tougher for him to stay with some of the quicker guards, and great drive by Chris Schlesinger.
Backing in, Neighbor thought he got fouled. And the Birds are going to slow down the pace. 15-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Defense spread out. 2-3 zone defensively. 10 on the shot clock. Johnson almost has it stolen away. Finds Dawn. Brooks open. That's his spot all afternoon. 24 in the first half for Riley Brooks.
You got to get out there on him over there. He's unstoppable.
Blocking foul called on Schlesinger at the last moment. The Birds bench not happy about it, and neither is Coach Jarakovic. Unlike the first one, that one looked even closer. We'll have to see if there's a replay. Coach Jarakovic, we'll see a little bit animated on it. Left foot, right foot. And
yeah,
with the glory of replay, that looked like a charge, and that would have sent the Birds bench and Tarble Arena in a frenzy. But nonetheless, the first free throw miss, I guess it's a serendipitous moment as A.J. Williams comes in for Griffin Dawn.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've reffed a few basketball games in my day, and that was my least favorite part of the job, was the charge or block call, and it's just so split second. But the ball don't lie.
Misses them both. Pushing the pace with 3, with 2. A.J. Johnson off the right hip and misses, but nonetheless, Carthage leads 49-42 going into halftime. Again, momentarily, we'll go to Brea Lassek for the halftime report with head coach Steve Jarakovic. But nonetheless, Eric, what a fun turn of events.
Yeah,
at the end of half number one, we're now heading to the sideline report of Brea Lassek with Coach Jarakovic going to the half with a 49-42 lead. Brea, take it away.
Coach, first off, have to mention Riley Brooks. A career performance only in the first half. What is he doing so well?
Moves well. Guys are finding him in good spots right now. We're doing a good job against their pressure, not turning the ball over, and we want to attack. When we break their press, we want to punish them for it, so get the ball up and down the floor.
Trading points, point for point. Here we go. In the second half, what do you guys have to do to pull away?
Control off the bounce way better. We're getting way too many straight line drives to the rim, putting them to the foul line more than we would like at this point. Our whole emphasis for the last 2 days is keep them out of the paint. We got to do a better job.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you so much for that, Brea. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back. Halftime stats, highlights, and more. Birds up 49-42 on the CCIW network. welcome back. Halftime show here on the Firebird Broadcasting Network, now part of the CCIW Network. Eric Elger, I'm Peter Ferreri, Brea Lassek on the sideline. Going to have a conversation shortly with Taylor Jansen, the head coach of the Pioneers, talking about where things are coming into half. And with that being said, 49-42 your score. Thank you for being with us on the CCIW Network. Eric, let's look at some of the numbers that brought us to this point. Excited to be here. And the Firebirds outscoring right now. Both teams very efficient from the field, including from three. Rebounds just about even, a few more assists, one more turnover. But overall, it's really just those few extra threes for Carthage has been all the difference.
Yeah, both teams shooting it well, and it's just kind of like I said, who's going to end up with the most stops here tonight? And something that Coach Jurkovic said going into halftime is they have to do a better job of stopping the straight line drive to the basket. Something you mentioned they've been working on in practice the last couple of nights. And the Pioneers, 24 points in the paint compared to Carthage's just 14. So even getting beat to the rim like that, Carthage still staying in front, but you got to think if they can stop some of those drives to the basket, that might help extend this lead a little bit going into the game.
Looking also individually speaking with some of the other stats, 9-2 the bench point differential, points in the paint. So let's start with both of those. The bench for the Birds coming up big. Carroll and the Pioneers huge in the baseline and going especially on that near to far side of the paint. Let's look at the scoring leaders for the Firebirds. Riley Brooks, what a day, 24 points.
I mean, just feeling it. You can tell, and it just keeps getting open. And Coach Jurkovic mentioned that again, is that a big part of why he's been so successful early. It's been a lot of the off-ball movement that he's had. He hasn't really had to create as many of those shots as he does. And I mean, we know he's one of the best shot creators on the team, but a lot of time it has been his teammates just finding him open. And A.J. Johnson also doing a great job of, as we said, kind of carrying some of that load off of Riley Brooks, and you know, the contributions from Schlesinger and Williams will go along with that. So you gotta imagine Riley Brooks is going to slow down a little bit here in the first half, or in the second half. I'm not saying he will. I don't want him to, but you're going to have to see someone like, again, you see, we talked about Ryan Johnson, just 2 points. So look for him to get more involved here in the second half as well.
49-42 once again your score when we look at where things have been across the board, and you look at the shot clock, what I think is shot chart, what I think has been interesting, and we don't necessarily have that graphic, but it's been a diversified approach for the Birds, but that back corner for Riley Brooks, lethal. But on the flip side, for Carroll, it has been all on their left side. So the near side of the camera, it's been where they try to set up their offense and then drive in. They pass far side but still try to find the cutter on the near sideline. And that's something where they're going to need to find some success on the far side of the court, that right side, if they're going to want to come back in this one. Again, it's been such lethal shooting for, Carroll in terms of Michael McNabb especially, but Carthage just spreading thin the defense of the Pioneers.
Yeah, exactly. They've done a nice job of moving the ball. That's why they got 17 assists already. So Coach Jurkovic's got to like how the team has played offense, and again, can shore up some of those defensive issues. You got to like Carthage's chance going here in the second half.
Now going to send it to Brea Lassek. 49-42 your score. Brea, it is a charitable game today here at Tarble Arena, and a very important story that she is going to share momentarily. But when she walked in, there's a lot of people talking about a little bit of a buzz. So Brea Lassek wearing some jewelry. Tell us about it. Brea, you got us now, my friend.
I think
there we go. Okay.
I think we do, Peter. Both of these teams playing for a bigger cause tonight. It's the Helinski Hope game, and when I came into the arena, I was handed this very nice green bracelet. It says "You Matter." It's for suicide awareness and mental health awareness within collegiate athletics. The Helinski Hope Foundation was founded by the Helinski family. That's Tyler, who died by suicide back in January of 2018. And his family has been spreading hope throughout all of college athletics ever since. So if you're in Tarble Arena, stop by.
Thank you for that, Brea. Always an important topic. You know, we talked about it in the earlier matchup of the doubleheader, but the mental health side, so important. A.J. Johnson looks for three, rims out, flick back to Griffin Dawn, looks to the right side. Handed off, but again, if anybody has a chance or knows somebody here at the arena, Nesbitt no good, another offensive board for the Birds. Send somebody to the foyer and grab one of the wristbands for mental health awareness.
Yeah, great cause, and it's great to see colleges stepping up and making contributions in other areas just besides athletics.
Ryan Johnson, the big man, can he add a three-pointer to the column? Coming up just short. Fadeaway jumper, no good. Another board for the Birds. And it's so funny, both teams have been so successful at the three-point line. You're just expecting everybody to make them.
Exactly, just the way that it's going tonight. Maybe they cooled off a little bit going into the second half, but Carthage getting some opportunities, is not able, and Dawn has the ball poked away there.
Blocked. Brooks. Pure strength to reset up for the Pioneers with 14 ticks on the shot clock.
How about Riley Brooks saying, I'm just not out here for my offense only. Swatting that ball away from his counterpart, McNabb. And Carroll looks like they're trying to get Neighbor involved here early in the second half. See how they adjust offensively.
Fadeaway jumper, no good. Shot clock was expiring immediately after.
Solid 30 seconds of defense there for the Firebirds, but Carroll been active with the hands here defensively, making it tough for Carthage to keep the ball, and AJ not able to capitalize.
Looking inside, Ryan Johnson coming away with the steal, gives a little bit of a nudge, almost coast to coast. He misses the shot and is helped up by Nesbitt, and luckily enough, his shoulders went flush with the padding on the backboard. As you can see here in Tarble, a shortened sidelines, a very condensed arena here in Kenosha.
Gets you closer to the action, but
yeah,
sometimes you can go crashing into that padding pretty well. But Ryan Johnson there using his defense to turn into offense, and Carthage gets a early look, and looks like Ryan Johnson, as I mentioned, coming in this half, trying to get a little more involved here. The second half is that one just not able to fall from the free throw line. Coming in, Ryan Johnson, 72% from the free throw line. So a solid free throw shooter. He connects on the second one.
Lead extended for Carthage. Carthage's last victory was against Ripon on the 26th. On the road, the spin around and a foul going to be called against Griffin Dawn. His right arm, you saw, hooked in the defensive stand. First foul for Griffin Dawn. I would say no harm, no foul, but that was no harm but a foul. Losing a handle is McNabb. Pump fakes, has it swiped by Dawn. Foul called on Dawn, so those are two fouls on Griffin Dawn in less than 10 seconds.
Looks like that one against Nesbitt there.
Oh, my apologies.
Just didn't want to get Griffin Dawn into foul trouble here, but yeah, Nesbitt just, because yeah, it looked like if Nesbitt doesn't foul him there, Griffin Dawn had a clean block.
And a miss by McNabb, averaging 850 from the free throw line. So a rare miss for the lefty. Misses them both. And ladies and gentlemen, it is free Culver's cheese curds for all the fans in attendance.
Yeah, you're least likely player from Carroll to miss those two. So Carthage, more than happy to see those get missed. Not only to keep those off the scoreboard, but go home with some cheese curds as well.
If you need to run down and get a coupon, Eric, I'll cover. I know sometimes we get out of here a little late and they're out of coupons. Neighbor looks inside, nothing to go. Nesbitt 1v1 on McNabb. Ill-advised pass, Ryan Johnson hits him right in the palms. Brooks coming in, fade away, off the glass. No good, so both teams a little cold here in the second half. Nesbitt swipes it away. And a little bit of a swipe after the jump ball. Smart play by Lamar Smith to come in. Johnson thought he had it clean, and Smith said not so fast. So jump ball possession arrow staying with the Pios.
Yeah, nice job there to play against the aggressiveness of McNabb as Nesbitt able to swat away, almost gets a steal. Yeah, really after the first half, this is a drastic difference here in the second.
I mean, it was offense, offense, offense. And right now, Carthage has scored 1 point. Carroll has scored 0 points in 3.5 minutes. E-step off the mark to the left. Brooks driving in, goes for the layup with no regard. And they will force his agenda to get to the line for 2.
Yeah, great idea there from Riley Brooks. Almost gave a little head fake up there and just splits the defense, just able to dribble it right over the outstretched arms of Peyton McKenna. And coming into tonight, Riley Brooks, one of the better free throw shooters on the team, close to 80%.
Well, as you mentioned in prior broadcasts, I think it bears mentioning again, head coach Steve Jarakovic, one of the best free throw shooters in the history of the conference and school. Prides himself on that. Brooks makes them both.
Yeah, I was reading his bio the other day, and he's, in terms of free throws, he's up there in Division III history for most free throws made and attempted. So not only conference, but Coach Jarakovic, an all-time free throw shooting legend.
Scoreboard now updated, 10-point lead for the Birds. Plenty of time left. Pios haven't found any offense in over 4 minutes until that 3. Finally stopping the drought. It was an 11-0 run for the Birds as Dawn nudged from behind ever so gently by Peyton McKenna.
Yeah, McKenna, that type of player for the Pioneers, shooting over 40% in the season from behind the arc, so he's known to get the offense corrected. He's one of those instant offense types of players for Carroll University.
Schlesinger comes into the contest, giving a spell to Dawn. You and I have mentioned, Eric, as the season progresses, you start to see more of a crisp, what the lineup is looking to be. Swiped away, good defensive play by Evan Bland. I was mentioning the lineup for the Birds. More and more you see, okay, these are where the pieces are going to fall for who subs in for who and when and what given situation. And A.J. Johnson pokes it away. Possession stays with the Pios.
Just feels like the ball's just getting poked away a lot in the second half too. Just both teams aggressive on defense, active hands, and almost poked that one and got it back for the Firebirds there. It was A.J. Williams.
Driving in, pump fake, no good. Potential error, and it is. So good job by Schlesinger to box out Smith. Smith tried to go around to be able to make some contact, to no avail. Brooks was open for 3, driving in the pump fake, up with the right hand off the glass and good. What can't Brooks do? Wow.
That was not easy. He had to use his offhand there to give himself a little space and really extended that right arm up and around to get the bucket. And on that last possession, you saw what Coach Jurikovic was talking about. Bland in the first half had his way into the hoop. There they trap him in the paint, runs out of options and throws it away.
The spin baseline, again, that right block. Bread and butter for the Pioneers all afternoon. Poked away by Bland. 21 seconds remaining as McNabb subs back into the contest.
And McNabb, after having a scintillating first half of the first half, really feel like he had about 10 points right at the start of the game as A.J. Williams gets the bucket there. But Carthage done a nice job adjusting defensively on McNabb, has just really held him quiet ever since that electric first half.
Brooks, the steal, misses the dunk. Mistimed it a bit, it looked like. And that would have sent Tarble Arena on their heads. So extra possession thwarted by a missed shot and a trifecta answering back. And so a huge momentum swing for all intents and purposes. You go from a steal to potential dunk to immediately a three-pointer after the miss, and lead cut to 6.
Yeah, you got to think Riley Brooks. Hopefully Carthage comes on top here tonight, but I think his teammates going to give him a little bit of a hassle about coming up short on the dunk, but you saw Coach Jurikovic frustrated. Obviously, you just want to see him put the ball in the hoop, but you know, it seems like the only thing Riley Brooks hasn't done right this afternoon.
Well, and I think part of it was the dribble was so far in front of him, by the time he got it, he couldn't get both feet underneath him in time and get enough elevation, but nonetheless, 6-point lead for the Birds. 28 points leads the charge for Riley Brooks. And while we have a moment, let's remind people about the Badger Bus. For over a century, Badger Bus has provided safe and reliable transportation between Wisconsin and Minnesota. Whether for work, school, or a big game, Badger Bus ensures comfortable travel with daily routes, charter services, onboard Wi-Fi, and professional drivers. Experience why generations trust the red and white buses. Learn more at badgerbus.com or book your next trip today.
And here, you look Carthage again. I mean, you just went from for sure, it felt like for sure 2 on the other end. Carroll knocks down the 3, and if you're Carthage, you want to keep Carroll at arm's length here. You don't want that 5-point swing to be what kind of catapults the Pioneers back into this contest.
Nesbitt with the inbound, pushing it up court. Smaller lineup. Johnson pushes down low. I was just going to say, Johnson and Co., they spread the defense, and he was 1v1 down low. And the big man, he only is up to 5 points, but with the offensive prowess of one Brooks as a basket made by who else? McNabb. You haven't needed a lot from the Johnson brothers so far.
Yeah, freshman Greg Smith getting a look at one of the best players in the conference. Welcome to the CCIW, number 42. Good luck staying in front of number 10.
Johnson pulls up for a jumper. Soft off the near iron, no good. Lead still sits at 6. Will it be 3? Smith comes away and gets that board. Offensive possession stays with the Pioneers. Nesbitt being backed in, turnaround jumper, airs it no good, and Ryan Johnson comes away with the rebound.
And Nesbitt just holds his ground there as Bland tries to go to work. Strength of Nesbitt there, key to get the ball back on the offensive end.
Nesbitt now. Johnson gets fouled as he goes up strong. Greg Smith out of Madison, Wisconsin, kind of putting the hands out like, wasn't me. But nonetheless, Johnson going to the line for 2 more.
Yeah, and there's exactly what you need here, the Firebirds. Someone down low like Ryan Johnson, picking up the pieces, fighting through 3 Pioneers there to come up with that rebound. As you see Carroll going back to senior Jacob Neighbor. You tell really Ryan Johnson going at that freshman.
Makes them both. Lead back to 8, 12:09 to go. So far in half number 2, 36% from the field for Carroll, 27 for Carthage after a blistering 59% in the first. Wow, what footwork down low. It's the power of pink. Both players wearing pink shoes for the Pioneers, just putting on offensive clinics. I guess you could say more of a salmon color for Neighbor than the neon highlighter pink for one McNabb. Johnson tries to force it through a sea of Navy hands. Unsuccessful.
That's something Ryan Johnson looks to do a lot because he commands so much attention on offense, is that you see a lot of Pioneers sag down low to try to make sure he can't get to the paint, and Ryan Johnson trying to get that skip pass open look.
Schlesinger, shot clock expiring. Ryan Johnson forces through. Is it tipped away? And it is. So Johnson gets the rebound, tries to get it to Schlesinger, but poked away at the last moment by Estep. Head coach Taylor Jansen not satisfied with that call, but looked like as Johnson was turning to make the pass, it was flicked away. Nesbitt looks for the screen from Johnson, gets it, looked for the give and go, but good job peeling off defensively. 3 defenders. And that is a successful defensive stand for the Pioneers. 3 defenders as McNabb and Johnson fight for it. Jump ball called possession for Carthage.
Yeah, I think Antoine trying to get involved offensively, trying to make something happen. One of the best creators on offense, and there McNabb was just opportunistic. Saw Nesbitt trying to go to work and just sneaks and gets a steal, but Carthage doing a nice job getting back on defense. That was something I remember early in the first half. Coach Jerkova called a timeout right away, was not happy with his transition defense, and there Carthage does what they need to.
Ryan Johnson, the pump fake, penetrates in, goes up strong, misses. Thought he was going to get contact. No call. Carroll a chance to make a 1-possession game. Carroll is stuck around with Carthage now shooting only 25% from the field. Under the basket and good. Lamar Smith lead down to 4. Smith up to 12 points.
Yeah, smooth move there to get the reverse layup.
Schlesinger keeps it himself. Layup with the left hand and good. Neighbor hit the rim. Basket fell regardless.
And I think that would have been goaltending if that would have been left out, but Schlesinger didn't need it, made it on his own accord.
McNabb, a sea of white around him, still finds his way up. Cuts back a 1-step, jab step to the near side, powers up strong, 21 points for McNabb. And that's why he's averaging 24 a game.
Exactly, it looked like he didn't have any angle at all. Thought it was covered well and just slips through.
A.J. Johnson, golden. huge trifecta, 13 points now for AJ, 65-58 your score. And we are going to now go down to Brea. Lassek for a sideline report on the success offensively of the Firebirds this afternoon, and especially Riley Brooks. Brea, what do you got?
Yeah, Peter, Riley Brooks is having almost a career game. He has 28 points so far. His highest of his career is 29. That was last December against Illinois Wesleyan. So watch out for that. And if you're wondering, based on his performance and the hot hand that he has, what would be the Carthage all-time single-game record? Well, that's 47 points. So he has a ways to go, but if he matches his first half, you never really know what's going to happen. Another season-high watch for the team as well. The Firebirds are shooting 49% from behind the arc. Their highest so far came in their first game of the season. That was 45%. So all the way around, a lot to watch stats-wise.
All right, thank you for that, Brea. 40-plus points, that's a lot.
Yeah, and the way that Riley Brooks is going there in the first half, I mean, 24 coming in.
Yeah, what's 20 more?
You really wouldn't have put it past him, but it looks like, Carthage has really expanded some of their options, and, Riley Brooks is not, to his credit, has not forced some shots. Sometimes I feel like you get your night going, you kind of take maybe some ill-advised shots just because you feel like you're feeling so good, but Riley Brooks, excuse me, has done a nice job of continue to stay in the flow of the offense, and players like A.J. Johnson have been getting more involved here in the second half.
Want to remind everybody, it's still 9 minutes to go in the contest. Stick around for the post-game show. Coach Jarakovic will join us in the booth to go over the contest today. I'm sure he would love nothing more than to finish off the weekend with a home victory against the Pioneers. Some of the fans clamoring for a travel no call. McNabb guarded against in this 2-3 zone. Dawn switches up. Smith nowhere to go. To the far side, airs the three. Johnson picks up the pieces. Poked away at the last moment by Estep. Dawn now trying to set things up under 20 to go in the shot clock. Can Riley Brooks find his groove here in half number 2? Foul called against Estep as A.J. Johnson was cutting baseline.
Yeah, you saw A.J. Johnson call for the screen from Schlesinger, decides not to use it, almost gets around the corner, but picks up the foul regardless.
Also, I know we mentioned a few days ago, congrats are in order with head coach Steve Jarakovic. Became a dad for the second time just this past Tuesday. I heard they didn't go with the name Eric, though. I'm sorry.
No, but they did keep the Bosco name in the family, as it's be the middle name of Steve's child is named after his dad, obviously a coaching legend here. So, yeah, thinking about there's going to be 2 children there, and also Steve, a uncle of 3. So,
all right, you guys starting 5.
Who's going to be the next Jurakovic in line for the bench spot here?
You start him now. You start, debating that now. Well, you would know this. Is Steve any brothers?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. His brother, Pete Jurakovic, 3 kids of his own.
Okay.
So
I wasn't sure if that was from sisters or any,
Yeah, 5 under 5. Actually, just talked to.
Oh, they're all going to start at the
mom,
same time.
Yeah, Steve's mom just said as a grandma, she's really gone from 0 grandchildren to 5 under 5. So, gotta expect the Christmas holiday season to be a lot more festive around the Jurakovic household.
Ryan Johnson gets fouled on the way up, and it looks like number 15, Evan Bland, is going to the sideline. He may have gotten an inadvertent graze against the nose. Reminds us of the Illinois Wesleyan game where Schlesinger had to go to the sideline because he had a bloody nose on an inadvertent elbow. So one Bland is off to the side now.
Yeah, Schlesinger took a wicked inadvertent elbow that they reviewed on Wednesday to see if it was potentially a flagrant call. Did not go that way. But yeah, Schlesinger definitely probably left a mark on him because elbow to the head hurts. But there, Ryan Johnson going up strong, trying to put some in pain on Pioneers himself.
1 of 2 for Johnson. Currently, Carthage 8 for 10 from the free throw line. Carroll 5 for 9. So again, a prideful team for the charity stripe are the Firebirds. Under 8 to go. Lead still sits at 6. Carthage hasn't been able to pull away.
Was just going to mention, it does feel like Carthage in control, but Carroll hanging around and now just down 4. Carthage has not done much to really put the separation that they need to in the second half, so it'll continue to be an interesting game here.
Well, it's the efficiencies if you really look at it. 50% from the field in the first half were the Pioneers, 44% in the second half, where Carthage, a blistering 59 in the first, only 31 in the second. They were at 25 for a while, now at least up to 31. But 17 shots attempted, 8 made for Carroll, and that has brought them back to within 4. McNabb driving in. Usually finds a way to take a shot, the give, the go. Running in, foul called. He took about 3 steps, but nonetheless got the ball up just in time, and he will go to the line for 2 more. As mentioned, McNabb, a .850 free throw shooter, albeit missed 2 in a row to give those lovely Culver's cheese curds to the fans in attendance. And it just feels like one of those games, if you're Firebirds, you don't want to let the Pioneers stick around.
Yeah, McNabb there just going to work. I mean, he seems so difficult to stay in front of, just the way he pops in and out of the paint, and you got to respect the outside three-point shot, so you got to get out there, and then once you step to try to get a hand in his face on that, able to sneak into the paint and draws a foul.
McNabb gets it. 2-point game. Carthage coming up cold, 1 for 6 out of their last 6 3-pointers. 5-1 run in the last 2 minutes for the Pioneers, including 3 from their last 4 from the field.
This has kind of been an Achilles heel for the Firebirds. They just run into stretches where they just can't find a bucket.
Johnson goes up strong again. You just feel if one of the few and one opportunities would come to fruition for Carthage, it'd be a different matchup, different output, I should say. Is Johnson drawing the fouls? Luckily enough for Brooks, he had Johnson right on the spot. Johnson still has a chance for 2. 8 points for Johnson the younger, make it 9.
It just felt like in their losses, their 3 losses this season, they've just had stretches of 2, 3, 4 minutes where they just seemed like they couldn't buy a bucket. They, would search around offensively to see who can get it, and just that has really played a factor in those 3 losses. But here again, kind of in an offensive swoon a little bit, and now they just find themselves up 3.
Well, and right now Johnson, 2 out of his last 4 from the free throw line. It's just uncharacteristic for the Firebirds. Coach Jarakovic said that in the postgame show yesterday. They win games by getting to the line, and travel called against Jacob Neighbor. He just tried to back in Johnson. Johnson just kind of took a step out of the way and said, by all means, keep backing up.
That's the old pull the chair out from him move there, because if you're Neighbor, you're ready to lean into him, trying to use your body. All of a sudden, there's nothing stopping there from going backwards further, and craftiness from Johnson there, able to pick up the travel.
The Johnsons, Nesbitt and Brooks in the game, along with A.J. Williams. Ill-advised pass for Johnson. A chance for the tie. Driving in, is that another travel? They're going to call a foul against A.J. Williams. It looked as if potentially Lamar Smith just lost his footing, but they're going to call Williams. Now, is it going to go to the line, or is it, no, it looks like it's going to be an inbound. Didn't know how far the officials were going to go with that. Let's take another look.
See if he just gets a arm there from, I mean, see, it to me it looks like he could have called that on Riley Brooks, but
yeah,
fortunate for Firebirds. Doesn't end up on your leading score for this afternoon, but yeah, just, you know, coming up empty a couple times with the free throw line has kept Carroll in this game.
Earlier today, the Lady Pioneers defeated the Firebirds 72-60. Late effort by the Birds unsuccessful. This one a close contest. Every time the Firebirds try to pull away, Pioneers find a way back. Riley Brooks from halfway into the lake, no good. Up and under, no good for McNabb, and numbers for the Birds. If they decide to press, they decide to slow it down. You know, another thing that was mentioned by Coach Jarakovic in the postgame a few days ago, Dawn gets it tipped, but it works. Why not? That was potentially a miss, and the deflection aided it in. Lead back to 5. But one thing Coach Jarakovic was telling us, Eric, we get another look at this. Great job by the replay crew. The step, the shot, and just a little bit of a flick. Hey, it counts.
That'd be a tough shot in horse there, and man, the Carthage needed Griffin Dawn, a timely bucket there. It just felt like they just couldn't buy a basket, and there's Dawn just getting his 4th point.
Yeah, but one thing I was going to note is when it comes to what Coach Jarakovic was saying in the postgame, he goes, look, we need to up our transition offense. Score quicker, not just always have it be half-court setups. And as we see here, some of the statistics, 25 for 50 on the afternoon, but 10 for 22 from 3, a few more rebounds, a few more turnovers, and that's what's brought us to a 5-point lead for the Birds. But the Pioneers putting up 2 more, and again, 36 points in the paint for the Pioneers. They keep just adding to that number, but luckily enough for the Birds, the bench has only provided 2 points for Carroll.
Yeah, and that's where you can see that plus 11 off of the bench points. So credit to the depth of the Firebirds roster. And yeah, you can see the Pioneers. You can tell what they're trying to do. Guys like McNabb, so effective at getting to the basket and using some of those reverse layups, uses the backboard almost as a way to shield himself and get those tough shots. And also someone like Lamar Smith has also been someone who loves to get downhill, get at the rim, and see if Carthage can continue to keep them out of the paint.
5 minutes to go. 2-possession game. Both teams getting cold of late after a hot start for all intents and purposes. Riley Brooks still sitting at 28 points. A travel called by Griffin Dawn. He heard the footsteps of E-Step out of Grays Lake Central and forced a shuffle by Dawn.
You hear Coach Jarakovic yell, slow down. I mean, Griffin Dawn just tried to go with it before he really knew what was in front of him, and that's why he shuffles the feet.
.13 on the shot clock. Driving in left hand, Smith, contact, Dawn, no good. Rebound by A.J. Johnson. He gets trapped, bounces it to his younger brother. Back to A.J. Dawn to A.J., contact, left hand, and good. Beautiful play by the Johnson boys, just backyard hoops.
The give and go. A.J. Johnson able to absorb the contact and lay it up strong with the left hand.
71-64. Three-pointer, no good, front of the rim, and now the Birds. Yeah.
Here you look to see the Firebirds continue to work offensively. Try to use all 30 seconds you can to get the best shot possible. See Nesbitt go to work.
Poking it away, getting it to Griffin Dawn. Dawn tries to get it off. Offensive board by Ryan Johnson. Carthage would love nothing more now than to start bleeding the clock. Keep the lead. Foul going to be called. Coach Jarakovic, the great job by the camera operators. That's what you put on the Christmas card, Eric.
That looked, the word that popped into my mind there was bewildered at whatever that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what he was. I mean, they get the call, but man, Coach Jarakovic, what a face there.
Yeah, that was a look. That was a choice. Maybe he thought it was going to go the other way at first, but nonetheless, 8 fouls now for the Pioneers. So you talk about the left hand up and good by Neighbor. You talk about all those fouls against Ryan Johnson, and you say to yourself, at least you know you're close enough to start getting some extra runs at the free throw line. 71-66 your score. 2:40 to go. Both defensive, it stood tall in half number 2. Nesbitt driving in. Layup and good. Tickles the twine. A huge bucket for Antoine Nesbitt, his second bucket of the game.
Great job there by Nesbitt, recognizing the hard closeout, able to get that first quick step past him and lays it up.
Looking for a quick answer to no avail was Peyton McKenna once again. And a timeout going to be called. So here's where we spoke. The lead was down to 2, and you almost felt like it's going to be a tie game at some point. But the Firebirds, slowly but surely, possession after possession, stepping up offensively, getting some timely shots, some second chance points off of some deflections, and now see themselves with a 73-66 lead. And now with possession can really put things in a tough spot by Carroll, and that's primarily because Carroll now 2 for 8 from 3 in the second half of action. They're down to 25% from the field, and they're 9 for 23 from the field, so they're only shooting 39%. And so we mentioned it was 49% at the last timeout. It has dipped 10 points. It has been a cold run as they are now 1 for their last 8 from the field.
Yeah, and I think that's a credit to Carthage's defenses, because a lot of those looks that Coach Jarakovic was saying they got to stop, they have done that in the second half. And just great defense on players like Neighbor, who has had a tough going against Ryan Johnson, stout defense. And then on the offensive end, it's really been some of the kind of role players offensively. I mean, not that Nesbitt isn't one of the better offensive players, but hasn't really been aggressive offensively, but able to get a bucket there. And we also saw Griffin Dawn contribute with one of his circus layup shots. So key contributions from some of the offensive players from the Firebirds. And here's the point of the game that we've talked about all last season, is where they've got a 7-point lead with 2 minutes to go. This has been when, I mean, to win as many games as they did in the conference last year, this is where they've really closed games out with things like taking care of the ball and knocking down free throws. And
so McNabb getting a final breather, or at least a sub in for the defensive run before they switch back. The sophomore showing how huge of a get he was for the Pioneers. 15 on the shot clock. If they get a 3, it's a 10-point lead for the Birds. Nesbitt backs in, finds Ryan Johnson. Back iron no good. Volleys it up, off to the side. And they're going to call A.J. Johnson for a foul, fighting for the rebound.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Just probably got him with the hip a little bit here, but you think both players have the right to go get that basketball. You wonder how AJ comes away with the foul call, but now that Carroll's in the bonus, it's going to result in free throws.
And in comes McNabb. So it's a 1-and-1 now. And we were just mentioning that you felt that that was going to be the favor of the Firebirds. That's how they found so many victories last year. They'd get that lead in the fourth and would just be successful at the line. That one swatted away. No foul called on a similar story to earlier. And Ryan Johnson fighting for it. And a foul going to be called this time by Lamar Smith. So Ryan Johnson, a huge rebound, gets fouled by Smith coming in to try to swipe it away. And Ryan Johnson now will go to the line for 1-and-1, 9 fouls against the Pioneers.
And how about that, Ryan Johnson again coming up with the gritty play there, just fending him off and draws the foul. Now with 14 rebounds and 9 points. So if he makes his free throw, he's got another double-double on the books.
Well, Ryan Johnson, as mentioned throughout the broadcast, a former CCIW Freshman of the Year, then last year an all-conference player, but a different role this year, more of a banger down low, and having to allow for the rest of the team to come up and be the offensive power that you saw from him. I mean, you think about it, 2 years ago, you had the Tony Berneros and the Julian Campbells and the Nemia Stoyiches. So he didn't have to be the big guy down low. Well, now with where the team's at, he's got to be that guy, and he's done just that so far.
I noticed. Did you notice Julian Campbell back in the CCIW? He was on North
Park.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shocked to see that name on the roster. But good to see him back playing college ball, wherever it is. Hopefully he won't do too much against Carthage, though, I gotta say that.
8-point lead for Carthage. A.J. Johnson, staunch defense against him. Under 10. Screen for the Johnson brothers. Nesbitt pump fakes, drives down low, floats with the right hand. Welcome back this season to Antoine Nesbitt. Crucial offense. Answering right back were the Pioneers, so the lead of 10 doesn't last long. We're now going to go to sideline reporter Brea Lassek. She was in the huddle. Brea, what did you hear?
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I've been able to listen to a couple of these Firebirds huddles over the last couple of minutes, and assistant coach Quincy French has really been leading them and telling his guys, hey, at this point in the game, protect the ball. That's the name of the game so far. And also extending possessions. He said, I want every single man on that floor, all 5 of you, to touch the ball in one possession, move side to side, and that's really going to be the key in this next minute.
Thank you for that, Brea. Crucial information coming our way, Eric, when I love to hear everybody touch the ball. 8-point lead, 56 seconds. You know that Carroll is going to start fouling soon, and that's the bread and butter. You know, we've said that a few times for the Firebirds. Fine, give us a lead, and we're going to win this game at the charity line.
Yeah, great information there, because you saw in that last possession, they really worked the shot clock, and I thought it was great recognition there by Antoine Nesbitt. I think a lot of players would have taken that 3. He knew how much time was on the shot clock, saw he had still enough time to make a move to the basket, and a huge bucket there for Carthage, and exactly what we've talked about. I mean, the reason they were 14-2 in conference last year is that when it got to a point like this in the game, there was no doubt that they were going to come out on top based on how well they took care of the ball and knocking down free throws. And something to keep an eye on tonight, it feels like Ryan Johnson has just not been able to capitalize in back-to-back free throws each time he's been at the line. So, you know, hopefully he can correct that here if he gets to the line and be able to knock them both down.
I thought that they did so well last year because you and I were joined as a team, but I will take no credit for their success. As we mentioned, now 4th foul against Smith, 10th foul for the Pioneers, and A.J. Johnson. Who else do you want at the line but the phenomenal one?
Well, I'm glad you said that about us being good luck last year, because this year I felt a little bit like bad luck, because the 3 games I've seen in person here at Carthage, they've all been losses. So
yeah. Well, we are 51 seconds away from righting the ship here at Tarble Arena. Second one good. See if the Pioneers can go fast. Lead of 9. E-step. Looks right side. The pump fake. Left side. 3-pointer. Drains it. Huge, quick 3 by McKenna. And he's had to step up offensively in half number 2, as McNabb is still, if you think about it, Brooks still at 28, McNabb still at 23, and McKenna now crucial from outside, lead of 6.
And exactly the weapon you want to get it to here, Carroll, being down by as many points as they were. It was at 9 points, and he's a guy that can erase that lead quickly with how hot he can get behind the arc. Again, repeat, 40% from the 3-point line coming into the season. But here right now, if you're Carthage, Coach Jurkovic can obviously first make sure they get the ball inbounded, so you're going to have to draw up something to make sure you can get that, because you know Carroll's going to ramp up the pressure. And then whoever steps up to the free throw line, again, you just got to see him knock it down, as we saw A.J. Johnson rather, miss just his 2nd free throw of the season. And, you know, someone who is A.J. Johnson throughout his career, been in the 80% range of free throw shooting. So you got to feel like him, Riley Brooks, you're probably your 2 best free throw shooters. Look for them to try to get it in to one of the 2.
Lead at 6, so a oh-so-important inbound, but with only a 13-second differential, you know they're going to foul right away. So we mentioned this game will be won and lost at the free throw line. Into Nesbitt. He gets trapped. Is it a jump ball? It is. So right away it gets to Nesbitt. The trap is successful. Jump ball arrow going to the Pioneers. A chance with a 3 after the last 3 and the missed free throw by Johnson to make it a 1-possession game.
Yeah,
wow.
Nesbitt just tried to split him, and Carroll wouldn't let it happen.
Looking to the left. Nowhere to go with it. Pump faked. McNabb baseline, nowhere to go. E-step, turns around, floats with the right hand. Good. Lead at 4. Up ahead. Griffin Dawn. Contact. Lays it up with the right hand. Huge answer back by the Birds. 2-possession game.
Great find there to get him right out of the pressure.
Stolen away. Nesbitt. He gets fouled, and Antoine's going to the line for 2.
Huge stop there. And again, it's felt like this whole second half, Carthage has had those active hands in there. Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, clean. Clean as Sunday sheets. Antoine Nesbitt. Good. 81-73, 13 seconds is all that remains between the Birds and victory. Falling away, 3-pointer. Offensive board, 5 seconds. That one good. McKenna makes another 3. Dawn pump fakes, gets it ahead. Ryan Johnson after the fact, but it doesn't matter. Your final 81-76. Carthage comes out victorious at home against the Pioneers, getting their first conference victory of the year, and a more or less a sigh of relief for Carthage. Almost went coast to coast with a lead, albeit sometimes down to 1 or 2. Weathered the storm, found the way to win at the end. The strength of this Firebirds team is what you saw in full display.
Yeah, after the offensive fireworks in the first half, it was really the defense that made the difference in the second half, and they did a wonderful job of slowing down the likes of McNabb and really kept a nice job there from the Firebirds.
All right, now going to the player of the game for the Carthage College Firebirds, along with Brea Lassek, Riley Brooks. Brea, take it away.
Riley, you were 1 point off from a career high, 28 points today. How did you find so much success on the floor?
I think it just started with our pace on offense. I think, me being in the right spot at the right time, obviously my teammates finding me, and, just a lot of work that I put in the offseason. So.
First conference win for this team. What is the ceiling in conference play for you guys?
I mean, obviously, there is no ceiling. We have a ton of guys that can play, and I think we're still trying to figure it out, but it was definitely a good step in the right direction.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Riley Brooks, player of the game, and thank you, Brea, for the outstanding work all day for the doubleheader. We're going to take a timeout. Coach Jarakovic will join us shortly for the postgame show. 81-76, Birds beat the Pioneers on the CCIW Network. We'll be right back. And welcome into the post-game show, 81-76, your final. Eric Elger, Peter Ferreri with Brea Lassek, joined by winning coach Steve Jarakovic. Coach, we said in the booth, kind of a sigh of relief. Every time you'd get a lead, they found their way back, but at the end, you played your typical Carthage basketball, won it at the line, and forced them to have some turnovers at the end. I think we got you now, Coach.
How about now?
There we
Yeah,
go.
I got you,
All
I got
right.
you.
I can press buttons.
No, they're a really good basketball team. Taylor's got them playing a fun style. They're pressing. They're getting after you a little bit more. I thought in the first half we broke that, handled it pretty well. And like always, there's going to be those runs, 2 or 3 in a row, that you would want back. But kind of played into their hands a little bit during their stretch. They made their run in the second half. But all in all, man, proud of the guys. And, it was a battle. Wednesday was a physical game. Today, no different than that. And that's what you expect in the CCIW. But, for us, I think we had 17 assists in the first half. tonight. We finished with 22 assists. We shared the ball so well, got the ball side to side like we wanted to, and you know, when you do make the extra pass and the people are unselfish with it, you get a really good look out of it too. And I don't know how many Ryan Johnson got doubled on the block, and he made the right basketball play. Pop to the top, reverse, extra hockey assist to the corner, and Riley Brooks made a bunch in the first half too, all because our guys were in the right spots and super unselfish with how they played.
And something you mentioned going into half is that trying to stop those drives to the basket. They had 24 points in the first half, 24 points in the paint in the first half, down to 16 in the second half. It just seems like he did a better job of limiting those drives that the Pioneers are trying to get.
You know, they got size. They got guys that can flat out score the ball. McNabb, we did not do a good enough job in the first half. I think he had 5, maybe 10 made threes coming in, and we gave him 3 in the first half tonight. But he's a talented player. He's 24 points a game for a reason. I thought we locked in on him a little bit more, but we kind of gave up some other stuff in the second half. So got to do a little bit better guarding on the perimeter. But all in all, our gap control defense, our keeping them out of the paint in the second half, much, much better effort.
And offensively, I mean, obviously the big night from Riley Brooks, but it seemed like in the second half it became more of a team effort offensively. What did you like how your offense executed in the second half?
I think you saw it from the first possession of the second half. We had 3 really good looks in a row. You ran what you wanted to, offensive rebound. Got a kick out, offensive rebound. Got a 3rd good look out of it. We had 4 great looks at the basket and didn't come out with the points, but the difference this game was, as opposed to Wednesday, we got stops on the other end. I think we held them without a basket for the first 4 or 5 minutes of the second half, allowed us to stabilize when our shots weren't falling, and then we just got back to ourselves. Played good basketball, late shot clock guys made some really good decisions. AJ on the last one, I believe, where unselfish play, kicked the ball to Twan on the wing, quick drive, get to the rim when we needed one at the basket too. So proud of the guys all around.
Coach, you said to sideline reporter Brea Lassek, you wanted near the end, you wanted everybody to touch the ball in each possession to make sure you got the right look. Talk us through that mentality to get everybody involved in each possession.
You know, you want people to guard. You want people to guard side to side. Carroll's a really good defensive team. If they can keep you on one side of the floor, it's going to be hard to score. They pack it in pretty good that way, and they pressure you on the ball, and they got a big guy who's a pretty good ball screen defender. So when you get the ball side to side, forcing them to move all the way, it opens things up. And I think our best basketball was that. Drive kick, reverse the ball, drive second time, and then you get the extra pass out of it. So overall, couldn't be prouder of this group right now too. We needed this one, and I know we'll come back ready the next couple of days for Platteville on Tuesday.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does it look like? I mean, you got 3 days or so, you day off, practice Monday. What's it going to look like?
That's the plan. So we'll give them leading into finals week. So one last game before finals start next Wednesday, and you get to play a really good Platteville team. I mean, they're one of the better teams in the area. They've been for the last 10 years, and they're big, they're physical, they play correct, so it's going to be similar, no different than what we saw Wednesday, no different than what we saw tonight. So I know we'll come back Monday ready to go.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Coach Steve Jarakovic. It's nice to talk to him after a victory. Riley Brooks, your player of the game. And before we put a bow on it, Eric, final thoughts on this contest this afternoon.
Yeah, I just think that it's the second half, it just, as Coach Jarakovic mentioned how proud he was, it just, they really were moving the ball around. And as I said, I think Carthage is best when you don't know where the points are coming from. While they'll obviously take a Riley Brooks outing like that, when you can, in the second half, really pass the ball, drive the ball, as he was saying, it just makes your whole offensive approach so much more difficult to stop. And yeah, I think they just, a great job to get a win here in the conference.
Looking at some of the numbers, Brooks 28, Johnson 16, Ryan Johnson, just another double-double, 10 points, 14 boards. Antoine Nesbitt, huge in the clutch, 8 points, 3 boards, 5 assists for the Firebirds. Outstanding performance by Carthage. Let's take a look at the upcoming CCIW Network schedule, which what you'll have in the next few days. Tomorrow, women's wrestling, a nice early 9 o'clock start on the mats for the Carthage Classic. Saturday the 13th, the doubleheader, men's basketball versus Wheaton, women's basketball as well versus Wheaton, women's hoops versus St. Norbert, and then Friday the 19th, an early one. Eric, you're going to be here for that one, men's basketball Olivet, 1 o'clock on a Friday. You still in school for that one? But
don't think I'll be able to make that one, no.
Well, either way, it'll be Chris Labasco, I know, on the call, so that'll be a fun one. And we mentioned this Tuesday as well. In short order, you have the men's game and a non-conference matchup as well. So we want to thank you for being with us this Saturday afternoon, a doubleheader for executive producer Mike Love, producer John Voinovich, as well as director Morgan, graphics Jeremy on replay as well, camera Addison, writer and Owen. Again, a fully student-produced broadcast on the CCIW network, none better. This program has been a presentation of Firebird Broadcast Productions and Carthage College, copyright 2025. Once again, for Eric Elger, Brea Lassek, I'm Peter Ferreri. Have a good rest of your weekend, everybody.